So every negative review, I haven't seen one negative review even after the game is released. I've looked, and I can't find one that like really digs into why this would be a bad game without having to extensively talk about it's not Arkham or it's 30 frames per second. Like even in the tweets where Gotham Knights was advertising the game, comments was like, "Huh, 30 frames per second," and it was just like that. That's really it for you. Like okay, um, like I don't know. I've played games at 30 frames per second. We've played older games, and it's been fine.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk a lot about older games. Actually, next episode, I'm gonna talk a whole lot because I did a whole lot of things since the last recording. That I'm gonna get to there as
Okay,
far as old games. But yeah,
okay,
go ahead.
great. So it's just it was weird to me, and after I kept hearing that, and then some of the things that other people complain about, right, where they're saying, uh, you want to do the story missions, but before you do that, you have to go do side quest, and you have to like get information, and then go to this area and get more information, and then grab this little thing, and get this little doodad, and then you get to do the main mission, and you're locked behind some level stuff, and you have to craft, and you have to get loot and new suits, and everything is just generically with numbers. So like this suit's better than this suit just because of the number, uh, and that type of stuff. And when I would hear people complain about that in my head, I was like, okay, but also that just sounds like Borderlands, and I like Borderlands, especially two.
Mm-hmm.
I had my issues with one, but two is great. And that's what that is too. You go around, you do fetch quests, missions are locked, based around level for zero reason, and then like this gun's better than this gun just because the numbers say so. It's the same thing. So when I hear also people say like it got stuck with the what's that called? The like pay to win mechanics, like the live service mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
Like Marvel Avengers, where they say it got stuck with the live service mechanics. I think we forget live service mechanics were RPG mechanics that they just started making you pay for. Right? And
Right,
like
right,
earlier
right.
games, that's what you do. You unlock suits, you unlock abilities, you throw random gear on your person, and then out of nowhere they just started saying, no, you could buy that instead. And then it was like, well, now the only way you can get it is buy it. And
But you
maybe
know
this
what?
game did have live service elements, and because Avengers did bad, they removed the live service elements of the paying, but it's still an RPG.
I also want to just say real quick, isn't some of those elements what made Skyrim such a game that people just
Yeah,
literally just cannot stop playing? Like, and some
exactly.
people just they strive. Like I know someone who wanted a better computer simply to play Skyrim with mods and stuff. Like that
Uh
was
huh.
her sole reason, right? And so yeah, I think when it's overdone is when I get annoyed. But
Yes. And I
um
haven't, because I'm still at the beginning of this game. We'll see by Thanksgiving time if I am like, okay, it is too much.
okay.
Uh, by this point in the beginning, because like I'm such a big, like I'm a DC fan, and to be honest, I like the other members of the Batman family for the most part, for most of them, more than I like Batman. Like don't Batman's cool, but like I like Red Hood, I like Nightwing, I like Batgirl, I like Tim Drake, I like Cassandra Cain, and a bunch of these other characters that are in the family that never get a spotlight, really, because it has to be Batman, Batman, Batman. And this one's not Batman. And some of the other complaints that I saw for the game, they were like, "This is stupid. Just give us another Batman game." And in my head, I'm like, "You have four. You have Asylum, City, Origins, and Night. Like you have four
Mhm.
Batman games, and you're like, they've like, let's focus on the other family. No, that's dumb. Just give us more Batman.
Yeah, man,
Batman,
they
Batman.
could jump. They can go all the way back to the PS2 and play the Batman Begins game.
Yeah, there we go. But so
uh,
as you see it in the video, there are a couple times I think where you could see the frame rates drop. I will say
mhm.
while playing, I didn't notice it. Like I've noticed the frame rate drops here, like watching it
Mhm.
back. But while playing, I didn't catch it at all. It didn't like
Yeah,
move
I
it.
also think that's a good thing to bring up because there's a difference between somebody watching and somebody playing. If you're playing, you're more immersed to the point
Oh,
where that doesn't really bother you as much. Because I remember when I was playing Arkham City, I didn't pay attention to that much.
yep.
And I will say from looking at your footage even before I did scan through it a little bit, I do notice that the AI is not as like they're not as aggressive and not as like responsive as they probably should be maybe in 2022.
Yep.
That might be one of the biggest things that I can complain about just from what I've seen.
Yeah.
There are moments where they look a little slow or a little clunky too.
Yeah. And if
Yeah.
you remember, that was also one of my big issues before.
Yeah.
When I first started talking about the game. Uh, as you notice, I just rolled up on them shooting. But like,
Yeah.
uh, that was something that I also complained about before. And again, I'll be able to talk more about this closer to Thanksgiving because I did hear that the higher level you go, the more responsive the enemies are. Like they're this way because you're still at the beginning.
Yeah.
Uh, is what I've heard. So we'll have to see if that's like true or not. But like in the game, like storyline wise, you do feel immersed in this thing. Like there's a whole when you go back to the belfry in the morning, there's like a board that you keep adding more information to as you gather evidence and stuff. That's like tying all this stuff together while you're in the streets patrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can interrogate people, especially like the last enemy. You can grab them and interrogate them. And sometimes you start getting information about premeditated crimes that are going to happen. So when you go out on patrol, you can go stop that crime. But if you go back to the belfry for the night, the crime disappears because it's like it already happened. You didn't address it then.
Mm.
Is the idea. So you do have to like you get certain side missions that happen specifically because you're tracking premeditated crimes. Um, you also have like health packs, like a health bar, and as you're going throughout the night, you have to like use your health packs as you can. And when your health gets too low and you run out of health packs, you need to head back to the belfry, and that ends the night's patrol. So it's not like an unlimited night patrol unless you're just not taking hits. Uh,
Yeah.
so there's that as well. Um, well, the combat's fine. Like it's not Arkham. It would it have been better if it was Arkham? Sure. But it's not. And for what it is, it's fine. You got your heavy attacks, your ranged attacks, your melee attacks, and a nice dodge. And then your grapple hits is great. Like especially playing as Red Hood, I loved a lot of his moves. Like he does a power bomb on people. That's just great to see in the middle of a fight.
Yeah.
Um, Robin I've played as, and he does this like staff move where he just basically just wails on him like Aaron, like the noggin gets a flogging. Like he just goes at him with the staff. Um and
Now
what
I
else?
have a question.
Yeah,
With Red Hood, I believe before the main thing that ticked you off on him was his air jumping ability. Like, do you have
yeah,
this unlocked yet, or did they
no.
remove it, or is that still there?
Oh, it's still there. So the
Okay.
one thing is all those cool traversal things that you see, by
Yeah.
cool I'm using that in quotation. So like the gliding or the teleporting thing that Robin does or his fart jump, you unlock
Fortune.
that by it's these other challenges where you get like knighthood, where you're like the spec like you completed like their missions to like fully level up, and that's where you like unlock the ability to do that stuff. So it does take some work to get that stuff. Until then, you're just kind of motorcycle and ziplining.
And also, he shoots non-lethal rounds. Like,
Yes.
okay.
But I do want to talk about this part
Because I
because I thought,
saw, even within the footage just now, you shot somebody in the face and then ran up on them and hit them,
yeah.
and it's like in my head, if you shoot somebody that close range, you would probably kill them. But I guess it's non-lethal rounds.
So because he's working with the team and everything, he's promised to pretty much go non-lethal.
Okay.
Uh, Whereas in like I don't know in Arkham Knight, and again I'm not doing this as a comparison thing, but like Arkham Knight, if you play as Red Hood in some of the AR challenges, he is all lethal. Like when you do a ranged attack where you would normally throw the batarang, he pulls the
Hmm.
gun out, he shoots the person's down. That's it. they're not getting back up. Like
Mm.
you can take them all out by just shooting. But in this game, they're non-lethal. They made a point of it being non-lethal.